Week number 5. It is our preview presented by Cornerstone Real Estate Consultants. And Jason, feels a little better when you can be sitting here talking about a win, especially when the Bears go down to Wilton and play as well as they did in all facets of that game Friday night.
Yeah, you needed to get something, that confidence thing, right, Steven? And to do that, to win, but to do it on the road in the fashion they did with the 43-8 score, I think the confidence level is a little higher than we may have expected after this game. I thought it'd be a little more closely contested, but the Bears caught all 3 facets of the game and did it well.
Yeah, well, you look, from the opening series, the defense comes, forces a 3 and out. They do the same thing. They get some turnovers mixed in there. Think of that opening drive. Wilton ran more than 4 plays on one drive. Otherwise, they punted or turned it over on 6 of the 7 drives. So that defense was just flying all over the place. Some of the things that we saw a few weeks ago in terms of mental and physical mistakes starting to work themselves out just a little bit. Still some there. Obviously, it's a young team. You're still going to grow. But really starting to figure out what it means to play the game of football. Yeah,
and you saw it with the confidence of the 5 guys up front specifically. The skill position guys did a fantastic job of pushing that line forward to give Andy Henson hole. One, of course, he breaks for 87 yards, but the rest of the night just getting 4 to 8 to 10 yards per carry, which opens everything up for Gavin Hirschman, who is just flinging the pigskin is about as good as we've seen in many years as a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and Coach Peterson in his postgame interview with us on the Bearcast said, we told you guys, be patient with this team. Yeah. And we've talked about it on the podcast, after the West Liberty game. It was disappointing, but there's some things that we can build on. Right. And then we lose to Cascade. But there were some things to build on. Those things are continuing to build. So let's see if we can get that snowball building here into these last 3 weeks of the season.
Right. And with, again, how the team won with everything that was supposed to be going on with homecoming, and we'll touch upon some of the changes that are going on with that. This team now has a little bit more confidence, and I think the younger guys with a level of maturity on the football field has grown a little bit to be able to handle anything thrown at them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of thrown at them, supposed to be our 3rd home game of the year this week, and we're going to end up with 1 home game on the year. Unfortunately, Northeast had a COVID outbreak, so could not play them here at the Little Rose Bowl. So that means that Jake Stenberg, tip of a cap to Jake as well, doing all kinds of calls and emails and wheeling and dealing and seeing what he can come up with. We end up finding Maquoketa Valley, but they also wanted a home game. Some extenuating circumstances there, so we said, we'll come up there because we still want to play a ball game. We want to help them out just a little bit too.
And if you're following this story, I hope you're on westbranchfootball.com or following, if you've seen Mr. Stenberg's announcement, West Branch Times also had it. Just a story of a couple of student athletes last summer from Delhi at Maquoketa Valley High School passed away. And they wanted to do something special in their memory, and it was just happened to be this week. Well, they lost a game as well from an opponent that has COVID. So they decided, hey, you know what? There are a lot of things that are a lot bigger than playing football. And this is one of those things. And a tip of a hat to Jake for getting this set up. And I think for the program for just saying, you know what? We want to play football, but this is far more important than football for that community up there. We know what something would do to our small community if that would have happened to us.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously going to be an emotional night for them. But like we said, still a chance to play a ball game. And it's going to be against a Mac Valley team that, win-loss wise, 1-3 sitting there, but they've been in every game except for the first one, and they've got some athletes, in particular a quarterback that's basically accounting for about 80% of their yards.
Parker Sternhagen. You're going to hear that name a lot probably from him on the call with Mike as the color man, and if I'm on the sidelines doing Jerry's thing, I won't do it as well, but you're going to hear his name a lot because I always talk about it's the stirring the drink. Well, he is really a bell cow for this team. You watch him on film, he's very, very athletic. And just when you think, oh, yeah, he's going to take off. Nope, left-handed kid, and he's going to make a pass. He's got 3 receivers that are averaging over 10 yards a carry. This guy has how many yards a game is he getting of offense,
About
Steven?
228.
Yeah, and how many yards rushing?
About 133.
That's a lot of yards. I can't remember the last time West Branch faced a quarterback that specifically through at least 4 games has averaged 130 yards rushing at the quarterback position. Right. And he's far and away their leading rusher, almost 3-1. But they've got 3 guys that have over 200 yards rushing, including him. So they can come at you different ways.
Yeah, and a couple of athletes, and kind of like we're seeing, they've got some youth in some certain areas, so that's where you see maybe some of these growing pains through those first few weeks, but obviously they're looking to build and grow as well. So again, just like we saw last week down at Wilton, that first whistle sounds, this Bears team's got to be ready as soon as they get out there.
And much like West Branch, we've talked about the youth all year of West Branch. Sophomore class has played big roles and are paying big dividends now for West Branch. At Maquoketa Valley, a school that's even smaller, it's a Class A school, Stephen. They have less kids out for football than West Branch. They've got a freshman that starts both ways in Aiden Salo. Aiden Salo, not just an offensive line, on the defensive side of the football, he's got 9.5 tackles for loss through 4 games, and he leads the team in that statistic as a freshman. So this kid's got some talent. They've got some senior leadership next to him. So don't let the scoring and the points that they've given up this year fool you. They can do some things on defense that can really trick you.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one, mainly because, hey, like we've said all season long, we're still playing.
Still playing football.
That's all
right.
that matters. We'd love to see you up there, but if you don't want to make this trek up to Delhi, we will have the Bearcast. Coverage will start at 6:30. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 o'clock. As Jason mentioned, Sideline Jerry won't be there. He's got a wedding for his son. Apparently he's more important than West Branch football, but such it is. So big thank you to Cornerstone Real Estate Consultants. They sponsor our weekly game preview right here at westbranchfootball.com.